Hi, everyone. I'm Pip from Seymour Digital Media. You're listening to Know How Marketing Lab podcast. This podcast brings together different experts in marketing from our Facebook group, Cyberpunk Geeks Marketing Mixer. Each week, we get on here and we talk about something search marketing like Google Ads or SEO, social media marketing from Facebook to TikTok, or website marketing. If you're a marketer or aspiring marketer, a business owner or entrepreneur, this podcast for you. We're going to share the best SEO, search, social, and website strategies. We share tips and hacks, Google Ads strategies, what's going on in the current market. Each week, we discuss something exciting and awesome in marketing.
Welcome to today's Geek Speak. Today we are talking about the 8 most popular free WordPress themes. And with us today, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Rena Little from Littleworks Indie Media. We do websites and other kinds of marketing in Vancouver.
And if you don't know me, after 5 years, I am Greg, owner of Original 72 Creative, and we're a full service website, graphic design, and digital marketing firm in Vancouver. So, this is an interesting topic for me because I'm obviously dealing with building sites daily. And I don't know how often people browse the theme repository. Do you ever go in there and see
No.
what's new or anything like that?
No, the way that we approach themes, and let's just go back and define what themes are, because I was actually talking to a few people yesterday and they seem to not understand the difference between themes and templates and WordPress and how that all works together. So, just for the newbies out there, I like to explain it in a particular way, and it's fairly accurate, but it's a really good metaphor. So, WordPress is the engine. That's a one layer of software that runs everything. That's the engine of the website. And then your theme, which can be a template, is the layer of code that organizes how the boxes of content get moved around and sort of like the places of where the content goes. That's sort of what your theme is. If you get a template, that's usually a pre-designed theme that someone has done and has sold, possibly sold to you. There are free templates, but usually the theme is kind of like you can have custom themes and you can have templated themes, and you can have things that are partly customed and partly themed, partly templated. So it gets a little confusing, but that's that sort of middle layer. And then your third layer is the actual content that sort of you sit into the theme or the template.
Yeah,
Is that sort of, would you?
I wouldn't obviously, because I've been doing this for so long, I kind of like miss those lower level explanations because it's so, back of the hand for me. But yeah, basically that's exactly what it is. And I think from what you were saying, confusion for people would be like the word template, because you can have a theme template and you can have page templates or templates within
Yeah.
the theme to build out the content. So I would class it as a theme basically is a template. It's a website template packaged as a theme that you download, and it gives you all of your global styles and colors and
Yeah.
overall branded look. And then you also have templates within that you can use specifically for content layouts and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's the distinction there.
I think there's also, it comes like the distinction is a little bit less distinct now,
Yeah,
now
now
that there's
now with
drag
the
and
full
drop
site
and you
editing
can,
for sure.
yeah, because in the olden days when WordPress was first there, there was either custom WordPress design or there was template WordPress sites. And so now that there's more flexibility between like templated type stuff where you can do drag and drop, what you see is what you get type themes, or you can get some themes that you're still working primarily in the back end and the dashboard side of it. And you can still put customizations within themes. You don't have to have, like, there's really no such thing anymore as a custom theme like there used to be, right? So it's sort of etymology from a time gone by. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, the theme slash template, those can kind of be used interchangeably, but template really does specify that you've got something organized either as a page or as a section or as a whole site that you can just drop content in, and the design is pretty much already there. And
Hmm.
then when you make change, like what Greg was saying, if you can make changes to the global settings, if you want to adjust the font, the color in the color sections, and the color of the links, that kind of thing. But yeah, okay. So now that we got that out of the way, and
Well,
let's
just
get
before we
into
move
what
on,
you're
I think with
Sure.
the introduction of the block themes now in the
Yeah.
latest WordPress, the block theme, the full site editing is out of beta, and block themes are now becoming a thing. It's almost going to even more what muddy the water, because these block themes are so customizable. There will still be that same tier of sort of, you can get the block theme template, because there will be multiple block themes available
Yeah.
as templates that will start with a certain look to them, where you can do the global styles with it.
Mhm.
And even more so now with the block editing becoming mainstream, you within the theme will have a lot of the times templates for full pages that you can
Yeah.
throw in, and
Yeah.
only sections that you might
Yeah.
throw in. So you can
Yeah.
do an entire page template insert into your theme, or you can, if you only have, if you have a page built out and you're just looking for a new section, there's going to be templates just for specific sections. Like maybe if you want like a form section on the
Mhm.
page, you can insert a form template or an FAQ section template, kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
it's template is going to be even more confusing to people probably.
Yeah, I think that's okay. So that's why I usually tend to try and use the word theme instead of template to think about the site as a whole.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to sort of like go into the things that, because our topic is free templates, I don't really use free templates anymore, or that on our sites. We always use the Cadence theme, which Greg, you introduced us to, and we're loving working with that. The one thing that you want to think about if you are buying a premium template or even working with the free template, just before we get into which ones you're going to recommend, Greg, because I don't know any of them, I'm going to
Mhm.
ask all the questions. The one thing that you want to consider is that old style templates, like the premium templates that you pay for, they used to come with everything. So you would have a developer, and their idea would be to create a theme that would be easy to work with for the DIY crowd. And so they would imagine all of the ways that all the things that somebody would want on their website. And then they would create all of the plugins and functionality into that theme that you would want, even if you could pick and choose what you would want to use. One of the things about having that kind of template is that they're heavy because all of the functionality takes up space, and all of that functionality is code. And when you want to think about, especially if you're using shared hosting, one thing that you want to think about is making your site as lean as possible so that the user experience is nice and speedy, so that when somebody clicks a button, it actually loads really quickly. And because user experience is so important, that's why Google judges you on the speed of your website, because they're assuming that fast response and responsive, sites that load quickly are going to be better for the user experience. So, what if you're going to get a paid template, for example, or a free template that has a lot of things on it? Get rid of those things if you're not using them, and you can always add them back in after the fact. That'll keep your site really, really lightweight,
Mhm.
and and working well. So let's get into this template. So the first iteration of this topic was how many themes,
I think I
Greg?
put 5,
5?
so
Yeah.
it's expanded now to be 8 because I
Okay.
went going through there's one that I didn't consider, but or there's a couple that I didn't consider, and they're a group of themes,
Okay.
but they're
So
always in the top, and I expanded to a couple others just because I know they're sort of trending. I don't know if I would
okay,
say they're
cool.
the absolute most possible, but they're kind of trending upwards.
Okay.
So,
So let's
first
talk about
first
the
and foremost
repository first.
what's that?
Yeah. Can we talk about the repository first? Because you mentioned the repository. So how do people find this space?
Yeah, so well, when you have WordPress installed and you go into the section appearance in the menu in your admin, that's where you're going to find where your theme currently is. And every theme or every WordPress site that gets installed has 3 themes to start with, which is now 2023, 2022, and 2021. And
Oh,
so
funny.
that's why, because those are the default themes that WordPress puts out, and they put a new theme out every year, and so it's based on the date. So that's been going back ever since I started working with WordPress.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing that I didn't consider to put on my list as
Ah,
popular theme, but they are because so many people have them installed on their WordPress site because they're installed by default. Is those 2020 themes, all of them combined, make up a lot of the top spots of the free most popular WordPress themes because they're
okay.
already installed there. So yeah, you go into the appearance section of your admin, and that's where you would find the spot where you can pick your theme, switch your theme, look for new themes. And if you do search for a new theme, the all of those themes are coming from the WordPress theme repository, which is also on their site, which is basically just a large repository of all themes that have been submitted and are available for free in WordPress.
Okay, so is it the same as premium templates where developers will organize a theme and then they'll just put it up there for free? Is that what they do?
It's a process. People will develop a theme, yeah, and I guess theme developers will decide whether or not they want to release this as a free theme in the repository or, sell it on Theme Forest or another premium site. It
Okay.
really depends on the theme developer and what they're trying to do. There's so many WordPress developers out there. A lot of people
Hmm.
just do it for fun, or they don't find something that they're looking for, so they just do it themselves and release it. But WordPress itself has a process for approving these themes. They need to go through code checks and have all of the WordPress standards in place. So while most of the themes that you'll see in the repository have gone through that process and have been approved, so you could choose them and they're reputable, they'll work. I would say make sure you look at when the theme was developed or last updated, because you would get in a situation where a theme could be in there from like 5 to 8 years ago, which is still in the repository and maybe
Yeah.
getting updates, but it is an older theme and maybe you wouldn't want to choose that one although it's in there still because it
Right.
was previously approved.
Okay, so I just want to hit two little things based on what you said because they're really important points. Thank you for
Mhm.
those. One is when your site files, if they're no longer being updated, what that means is your site is slowly going on that list of you're on the timeline of when is my site going to break. So because that WordPress engine is constantly updating all the time, I mean, we all get the emails, your WordPress has been updated. If your theme files do not have matching updates with that WordPress level update, then what happens is the code doesn't always fit together nicely. It starts to like I don't know exactly how it works, but how I think of it is like you've got your theme files and they're kind of locked into the for WordPress files really nicely. And then when they're not, because one is not updated, there's little places in that code where malware can get in, and that's where you have problems. And when malware gets in, it's not usually a huge deal. Usually it breaks the site in some way, and you just have to roll the WordPress version back, but that just means you have security issues that you're going to have, and one day you're not going to be able to, it's going to start to break really badly and you're not going to be able to restore it. So you need to really make sure that you're going to have the longest lifespan of your site, and that starts with making sure that the company that you're using the theme file is a long-standing company. So that's why one of the reasons why I go with Cadence is because I know that that company is like they're a good company, they're robust, they've got lots of people, they're doing lots of business. So those files will most likely keep going. If you get something that one developer has done and then that developer takes a full-time job in Silicon Valley and makes lots of money and gets super busy because they're doing overtime because they make lots of money, then they may leave their files to obsolete. And that's an issue for people and the longevity of their site. And if you look on Google, the average that if you look on online and see how long will my WordPress site last, it tells you between 3 and 5 years, and that's mostly because people are choosing poorly, and they're not doing proper maintenance, because there are other aspects of updates that need to be done. They're not doing proper maintenance and updating those files. So for longevity's sake, make sure that you're updating your files as they come out, and make sure that you're choosing a theme at the beginning with a reputable company that provides updates. There we go.
Mhm.
I'm off my soapbox.
Want to know more about SEO? We've got a class for that. Our mission is to educate students about the right tools, techniques, and strategies to grow their businesses using the most up to date search engine marketing optimization techniques and tools. Find out more at knowhowmarketinglab.com.
Okay, so let's get
Yeah,
into
no,
which ones
that
you
was great
love.
to it was
Yeah.
great to explain that. And one additional thing I'll mention for choosing a theme would be the reason why I go, and I sort of call them frameworks. I've called them frameworks since I started with my
Mhm.
first, which was Genesis framework. It's really, for me, a starting point because every WordPress site pretty much has all of the
Yeah.
basic things. You need to display posts, you need to display pages, you need a
Yeah.
menu. Like, there's no reason to create a custom theme to recreate all of these things that are in these very
Yeah.
standard framework themes that are highly customizable. So I've chosen, as you've mentioned a couple times, Cadence as one of my newest theme, which I call framework, even though they don't call it a framework. It's a full theme. I use it as a framework to start from and build out all of my sites. And the reason why I choose these types of themes is because These companies just make that one theme, or maybe there's another theme, but they're not a developer who's creating like tons of themes. The more themes
Yeah.
you create, that developer is going to be like, well, I don't have time to update this one. Like, I like this
That's
one better,
right.
so I'm going to spend more time and update this one. And that's why those
Yeah.
other one off themes that they've created eventually don't get updated anymore. Whereas all of the
Yeah.
ones I'm about to mention here are basically single or one of only a couple of themes that these companies work on, and that's their main thing, and it's going to have much more longevity for people's sites than the standard five
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, the 2020 X themes are always popular because of the default install. The next one on the list is on here because Elementor is so popular as a page builder, and that's Hello Elementor, which has over 1 million installs, and the theme's been around for 4 years, which is probably a little bit less than how long Elementor's been around. I guess at some point they decided let's do our own theme that works specific with Elementor, and that's why it became hugely popular.
So they started out with just a plugin, right? And you would add the plugin to other sites so that you could create a drag and drop experience. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
most people know Elementor is one of the most popular page builders out there, and so they started as, like you said, a plugin that you would just install on your theme that would give you that, you know, better functionality of laying out content within your pages. So they expanded that to have their own default theme
Right.
that
So
was
how
free.
how is that theme different than just working with the plugin? Like, does that allow you to do things to the site, like the overall site, or
Yeah,
it's just so you don't have to
it's
choose
the
a site?
exact same thing as choosing any other theme. Like
Got it.
Elementor in its beginning was just a page builder, right? It needed to be added as a
Yeah.
plugin and still is like that. They've just decided to create their own
Right.
theme that you can do those other things like headers, footers, and stuff.
Mhm.
And obviously it works really great with Elementor because it's the same company. But they decided instead of just being a plugin for page building to add that theme
Mhm.
option to do that stuff, the header
Mhm.
footer stuff as well.
All right. So what do you love about it and what do you don't like about it?
I've never used Hello Elementor, and I don't use Elementor, so I
Okay, then I'll tell you what I think about it. Because I actually have it on my very own site because my website is actually a custom website that it was one of the first ones that Josh and oh no, it's not. That's a lie. I actually downloaded a template. That's right. I downloaded a template. It was a premium template, and then I got into this situation where I needed some pages done very quickly, and my developer was on a different project at the time, so I just downloaded the Elementor plugin, paid for it, added it, and started pulling things around myself. And I found that I'm thinking that Elementor site would probably be avoid a lot of these issues because I'm trying to put one thing and attach it to another thing. And so my columns didn't quite line up nicely. The like I still had to ask Josh to go in and do some custom coding to make it actually look good. It still looked really clunky. And I think that's one of the things about the drag and drop plugins. If anyone's tried them, they can be kind of okay, but not great. You still need someone to go in and clean up a little bit of the mess that the plugin creates because things don't really line up. You can't control it's hard to know where to control the width of the columns, at least on the iteration when I was working on this one. I think
Mhm.
now they all are getting a little bit better. Like the settings are more flexible and they're easier to find and they allow people to actually adjust those settings. Whereas when I first started, they were all kind of presets, and presets, they don't really work very well with your site to begin with. But you can get on there and do things quickly, and that's what I like about them. You don't need to have a developer necessarily to get things to look good. That's what I have to say about Elementor. Elementor is also quite large. If you're using it as a plugin, it kind of ruins your, what is it, Core Vitals that Pipsa was talking about, Core Vitals. It's not very great for your site speed. So it can really affect that. So you really want to go lean on everything else.
I
All
expect
right.
Elementor to start dropping in popularity because of the block editing
Yeah.
aspects. I think over time it will
Yeah.
start declining. One of the big things that I want to mention about Elementor and the block builder is that many times when you use not only Elementor but Divi, Beaver Builder,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of block builders that you can add to your theme that will give you better functionality in laying out pages. But in historically all of these page builders, all of the things you can do with the page builder, all of those assets are getting loaded on every page
Yeah.
for the possibility that you might use that in the page.
Yeah.
Whereas now the block based editor and many of the themes that we'll go through in a second, which are not geared to using a page builder, but more to use that native block building experience, they don't load all of the assets that you need on a page. So, for instance, a form. If you create a form on only one or two pages of your site, instead of that form styling and CSS and JavaScript or any scripts that are required for that form, instead of it being loaded on every page because it might be used, the form block knows, oh, this page is using the form block on this page, so I have to load that. So any other page is
Right.
not being used on. All of those additional scripts and assets are not being loaded and weighing down your site and will be much better for your core web vitals.
Right. Right. So we are actually at 11:30. We are going to go a little bit over time on this one because we need to hit all of them. But
Well, we
maybe we could
started.
just let's do it speed dating style. Name the theme, give us your pro and your con, and let's
Well,
go like that and see
it'll be
what that
pretty
does.
easy because most of these themes I'm about to mention are essentially they have all of the same
Great.
features as
Yeah.
the other. They're just a popularity thing, how many
Okay.
downloads and stuff. So the next biggest one or the first biggest one of the themes like the one I use would be Astra. And Astra has been around for 4 years and it has
Mhm.
over a million installs because it's been around for so long. It's super customizable in the headers and footers and setting global styles,
Great.
and which is basically what I want to say people should look for in their free theme is the flexibility in being able to create the header you want, the footer you want, and set the global styles throughout the entire site. So when you throw in information using the block editor, that it has that default style that you've set up. And all of these do, including that one. The next one is Ocean WP, and they're at 700,000 installs, and they've been around for 5 years. So you could see they've been around for an extra year, but not as many installs, but still super popular and has all the same features. Cadence, that's the one I've chosen to work with, and I know you're working with that from my
Yeah.
suggestion. Thank you for liking it and it being a good suggestion.
We're
Cadence is
always open to try new things if anyone's got a suggestion. I love trying out new things.
the reason I went with Cadence was because it has only been around 2 years and is already like one of the top dogs in and only going to grow even more with everything I know that
Yeah.
they have in the works and are doing. They're at 200 plus thousand installs in those 2 years, of which most
Wow.
have come probably in the last year to, yeah, maybe a year or so. And then there's another one. These will be notable mentions. Nev, been around 4 years and have 300,000 installs. Generate Press is also popular with 500,000 plus installs, and they've
All
been a
right.
company that's been around for 8 plus years.
Really?
Yeah, and finally, Bloxy, they've been around for 2 years and have over 100,000 installs. And so I want to mention that all of these are free themes in Theme Repository, and all of them also have a pro level, paid level that you can get
Mm,
to add to what they give in their free theme.
mhm. Right. Yeah, freemium is a really good model. It can get you, it can lure you in for sure.
And to be honest, most of these themes, people probably wouldn't need the pro version because
Yeah.
they are so customizable.
I think the
You
pro
mu- you
version mostly comes in handy for support. Like,
yeah,
that's the one thing that I really appreciate is that when you do have an issue and you've paid for your theme, you can access their support and have them help you with something that's not going right. And that was probably I just wanna circle back to the old style templates that you used to buy on Theme Forest that developers would make. I think that was the one thing that really traumatized me when I first started building sites for people. One of the first sites I took over from this business coach who tried to include websites as part of her giant branding package, and then soon found out that the templates were actually quite difficult to work with on WordPress in those days. So we took it on, and I couldn't believe like the mistakes. Like basically the menus were coded so that they would fall behind the photo at the top. Like and
uh,
it was a messy one. So that's another reason why you want to go with reputable companies who have lots of downloads and lots of good reviews is because you avoid accidentally choosing something that's only had 100 downloads and has problems with it and has no one to support you. So we had to do a lot of custom fixes on that one to make it work and functional. And you just want to avoid that because it can be while the newer themes are really nice with the drag and drop editor type things, when you run into problems, it's kind of hard sometimes to figure out how to fix that. And if it's your problem or a development problem with the theme.
yeah, and I wanted to mention all of these themes, like the numbers I got, how long they've been around, and the number of downloads in the theme
Yeah.
repository. When you're checking out a theme, you can see that information of
Yeah.
daily downloads and trends on that, and it'll give you, the date of the last update to the theme and things. So that's when you're looking for your theme in the theme repository, definitely click on it and see that information to get, the popularity of it. How long has it been around? How many downloads? Is it trending up or down before you make any
Yeah.
final decisions on a theme?
Yeah, good advice. That is excellent advice. Honestly, the starting from the best place is going to make your experience less friction and more happy. We want more of all of that in our life.
And before we wrap up, I just wanted to make a note that we will have a future topic about popular block plugins to extend the block based editor, which sort of will correspond a little bit to some of these themes because a lot of these themes developers actually develop additional block plugins that work really well with them, even though they aren't independent of, having to use that theme. They can be used on any theme, but in a future topic I will go through some of the more popular block based plugins to extend the block editor for WordPress. So look for that in the coming months. Thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks Rena. And
Cute.
I'm
See you
wondering
next week.
what yeah, I'm
What is
wondering
it
what
next
the
week?
next topic
Oh,
is
it
going to
must
be.
be. Is it our third? It could be
No,
the
it's gonna
no,
be
no,
topic with
I
Pip and
forgot.
I, and we're gonna be talking about
Oh,
types of pages your website needs and why.
all right.
So
That's a good one too.
stay
That's a
tuned for
great
that
one.
one.
All
Thanks
right.
everyone
I'll
for
see you
joining
next
us,
week.
and we'll see you next week.
The conversation never stops in our Facebook group, Cyberpunk Geeks. Join us at facebook.com/groups/cyberpunk geeks to ask your questions, meet new friends, and learn even more about search, social, and websites.